Hello everyone. How are you guys? I hope you guys doing well. So a very warm welcome to the third session of the Agentic Global Bootcamp, proudly brought to you by UiPath and Hack to Scale. We are super excited to have you guys with us today. Whether you are a student exploring automation for the first time or a professional looking to level up your skills, this session is tailored to help everyone grow. So, what we'll be covering today? We'll be covering some exciting and practical topics: Studio Web, context grounding, and RAG, retrieval augmented generation. So, moving ahead, so let's get ready for an engaging session with hands-on insights and a real-world application to empower your automation journey. Cool. All right. So a little bit about UiPath. It is more than just an automation platform. It is a movement that's transforming the way we work by combining the power of artificial intelligence with automation. UiPath empowers everyone, from curious learners to seasoned professionals. And this is to build smarter workflows and automate everyday tasks with ease. So whether you are streamlining a single process or scaling automation across an organization, UiPath provides the tools to do it efficiently, intelligently, and impactfully. So no matter what your background is or experiences, this platform is designed to help you make a real difference in how work gets done. All right, so stand out and get rewarded. Well, this as a participant, you will have the opportunity to compete for an exciting prize pool of around $5,000, gain valuable hands-on in training alongside UiPath experts, and earn a free diploma from UiPath Academy to boost your professional credentials. Talking a little bit about this diploma. So you must have seen in the interaction section of the hackathon that there is a link to the forum of UiPath. There are a lot of courses listed over there. You guys can just go check it out. So there's a free academy diploma in that. You need to access the course, finish it, and then you will be getting your certificate based on your completion of the course. So don't forget to explore it and complete your learning journey. So moving on ahead, who can participate in this? So it's for students and working professionals both. So whether you are a school student or a working professional with a little bit of experience or a lot of experience, it doesn't matter. If you want to work or learn more about automation, you can take part into this bootcamp. You will get hands-on experience. It will be easy for you to understand the basics from a very foundation level and understand the ins and out of what an automation is. So regardless of where you're coming from, there's something meaningful and practical here for you. So it's a fantastic chance to upskill, get hands-on experience with real tools, and become a part of the global network of forward-thinking innovators. So and also, this is a global bootcamp, so Agentic Global Bootcamp. It is available. It's available for all the participants. Just one exclusion is for the Indian participants. I wanted to just pinpoint this out over here. Moving ahead, so participants' journey. So what it is, it's a very basic thing and it's a very very simple thing to understand. So you guys need to register first. Let's say you are an individual who just saw this on YouTube or any of the cross channels, or via any communication you are able to reach out or know about this. So you guys need to register first for the bootcamp, and then you need to join the bootcamp that's happening. So one is happening today, and the next one is scheduled in next week. We'll let you know about that via communication. And then post every bootcamp, there is a mini challenge that we are providing. So you guys will be getting a 24-hour window post bootcamp to complete your mini challenge and submit it. And if you stand chance in that mini challenge, like if you stand out with your workflow, with your submission, you will be getting a chance to win cash prize from the 5,000 prize pool I mentioned earlier. All right, so moving ahead, yes, here's our speaker, Aditya Jain. So talking a little bit about him, he is a seasoned senior software engineer with over 7 years of experience in robotic process automation and generative AI. He has worked with industry leaders like Okta, UiPath, and Wonderbots, delivering impactful automation solutions focused on process engineering and AI integration. Aditya holds advanced certification in UiPath and Automation Anywhere with deep expertise in building context-aware Gen AI use case using RAG and grounding techniques. As a mentor, problem solver, and a content creator via his YouTube channel Tech Me Up, he's passionate about simplifying automation for a global audience. So that's our speaker. And moving ahead a little bit about today's session. So our speaker will walk you through the key UiPath features and Gen AI integration, and share real world use cases that demonstrate how automation is reshaping industries. At the end of the bootcamp, you will get a chance for the mini challenge. You will have exactly 24 hours to complete and submit a solution. So, yeah, that's it. And moving ahead, let's just quickly begin the session. Now, I'd like to call our speaker to take the lead. Please welcome Aditya Jain. Aditya, yeah, thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Rodhan. Greetings to everyone from the whole across the world. I am Aditya, and I'm gonna be talking about what is RPA, what is the Gen AI activity solutions that UiPath has already suggested and provided to us, and how we can utilize it in an impactful manner to solve real world scenarios and problems that are faced across the organizations. So I'll start sharing my screen. Just let me go in our screen one. There we go. Okay. So first of all, about RPA. Uh, RPA is robotic process automation, which is used to do like all of us have some mundane and repetitive work that we do on a day-to-day basis. For students, it might be downloading some email attachments, which might contain some of your assignments, and you might be storing it somewhere. For professionals, it would be that you would be downloading some of the reports and storing them on some particular shared drive, then processing the data. After processing, you might be uploading them on a designated place and then maybe submitting some kind of form. All of this is a repetitive kind of work which could be automated and could be done in a faster manner. And you should not be the one who should be focusing on the this work, rather than you can do something more creative and out of the box work. So what RPA does it leverages technology, softwares, and the machine by machine, I mean infrastructure that are our Windows laptops and machines, and it will cut down your time. Like it would let you use your time wisely on some other tasks which are more essential to maybe progress the organization or maybe your growth itself. Then how like automation helps everyone in our life is, if you are a working professional, you would be having some competitive work rather than doing the mundane tasks. You would be developing some new skills which would help you out uh, in your growth. Opportunities would be more since you would not be doing the repetitive work, and your stress hours would be less. The work hours would be pretty less in comparison to what you are doing right now. What a robot can do, or what UiPath actually does is it will help you to log in into any application, move some files and folders here or there, log in into their databases and read the data from there, process it, and then write it back. Maybe if your work is related to some kind of data scraping from web, maybe like evaluating some stock portfolio and then processing it, it would help you in that as well. If you leverage some of the open available APIs, you can read the mails, extract documents, make some calculation, and update it wherever you want. So to do all of this, we would be using UiPath Studio Web, which is a web-based, or I should say a browser-enabled automation development platform, which would let you access or use different kind of activities which would mimic the same actions that a user does. And there are a lot of integrations which are already available with multiple applications such as Salesforce, Microsoft Outlook, Gmail. uh, then for Gen AI, we have a different integration altogether available, which I would be showcasing you today. What are the key features of Studio Web? Is it's a cloud based platform, so you can access it from a Windows based laptop, Mac, or maybe your phone if you have some time. It will take some time to develop from the phone, but you can do that. It's a very user friendly interface, very simple to use, has a lot of integrations available inside it. And also, since it's a browser based, I was saying that we can use it from anywhere, from a Mac, Windows, and or any other places. Also, it supports the integration of AI and also document processing. By document processing, we mean, let's say if you are dealing with some of the invoices or receipts, you can directly process them on Studio Web using document processing algorithms. The today's topic that we would be covering is on PII and PHI detection. How can we do that? And then what is actually PII? So PII is personal information that we are always personal individual information which we are always processing or putting up onto the web. They would include your name, addresses, social security numbers, phone contact numbers, maybe your address as well. Then PHI is some healthcare related data, which is mostly on the healthcare and insurance side. Like you put on your whole health information, whatever it is, whatever disease you have or what medication you are taking. All of those are stored, but we don't want it to be traveling from one place to another one. So that's about that. And these are something that we have to go and process in order to be compliant to the GDPR and HIPAA regulations. Most of it is around your personal information and healthcare related data. What actually happens is there are a lot of breaches and security thefts that we observe these days. Like people are scamming a lot of people basis on the data that they find on the internet and then use it for potential fraud. So in order to avoid that, most of the organizations have begun to include PII and PHI data. Like they are redacting that data and then storing it in their databases. So that the information of a person is not transferring from one into another, which would help in like not getting these identity thefts and financial losses. So enough with this, like the theoretical part. I'll cover it later in the session as well. I'll like to jump on our studio, how it works, and what we are gonna build today. So I hope that you all have access to cloud.uipath.com. On that, after logging, after opening up your orchestrator or cloud instance, what you would do is you'll go to a studio icon which is shown over here. And in here, we have our development environment, which we can utilize. In order to do that, we can just like click on the create new and RPA workflow. which will give us a screen such as this one. Herein, like, we have an explorer wherein all the files that we are creating would be stored. Then we have a data manager, which would tell us about all the variables, arguments, or entities that we would be using. By variables, we are just saying that whatever input and output that we would be passing to different activities would be created here. Currently, there are no problems or no issues, so it's blank. Then if I go on to the right hand side, there's a properties window, properties panel. Then the output would be shown over here, which I would be showcasing, and this is the watches panel. And this is our main studio designer panel, wherein like we can directly search for any activity and use that over here. So in order to begin with the GenAI activities, you would also need a connection with integration service. So we can go to first the integration services as well, and I'll show you how to get your GenAI connector get started. So once you are on this UiPath integration services screen, you can search for Gen AI. Then you will be able to see all the things that you can do with it. And these are a lot of different activities from UiPath regarding Gen AI, which we can utilize. You might have already used some of them, such as summarize, content generation, or even translate in your previous sessions. So quickly, I'll just go in and click on this connect to UiPath Gen AI activities. It will show which folder it's creating a connection in, and as soon as we click on connect, it will just create an integration and store it in that particular folder. Okay. Then this was about Studio and how we can create a Gen AI connector. Coming back to our PowerPoint presentation, if we are going to use a PII filtering activity today, that is gonna take some input. Maybe it would be from an Excel file or from an email or maybe from a ticket that might be coming to some particular platform. What it would do is basis on the input parameters that we provide. So one would be the input text that we are giving in. Second would be what are the PII data that we want to redact from the input text that we are getting right now. Third would be language, and basis on that, it would generate a redacted output, which would not have any details of your personal information, be it your name, your address, email, contact number, or anything like that. And so where all these particular things are being used are listed over here. So first of all, in like if I talk about the industry standards, first of all in the customer support, we all have different applications or websites which we use very frequently, and often we go in and end up in some sort of issue which we would like to like get sorted with customer support. At that point of time, some of us only say like what issues we are facing, but at times we are also providing a personal information such as your maybe your contact number in case if the organization support team wants to contact you directly. That contact number might be used by the support team, but in case of a data leakage, your contact number would be compromised and might be used by some of the scammers, which is happening these days. In case of financial services, if I'm talking about at that point of time, we are always like, as a grown adult, we may be having some credit cards or maybe some loans on our hand. We are giving a lot of information to them regarding our identities. Maybe it might be a social security number, or in case of Indians, it would be Aadhaar card or PAN card or anything else that we are already providing them. So that might cause an issue at a later stage and could be used as a fraudster scam. In healthcare, we don't want our data to be leaked to any particular organization because it's something that you should only be having and the hospital record should be having. We don't want that data to be processed outside the scope wherever we are putting in. Maybe patient data should not go to an insurance agency directly, and like they will start bothering you, calling you again and again and again. Then legal and compliance, I'll say, like, there are a lot of cases and the information is already available on the internet, but every time we have seen it, most of the time the details of the uh, people who are involved in that particular case are changed. The names and everything is changed so that no one can track the actual person directly and get in touch with them. So these are some of the applications that we usually see. Now, in terms of students, I'll say at times we are asked for some feedbacks that we have to provide to our maybe the group head or the department head, but we don't know whether those feedbacks are gonna be anonymous or not. So at times we would like to have that anonymity of feedbacks that we are giving. In order to do so, there should be some PII redaction process, which should be after the submission of the form that your organization is providing. So I'll like to jump onto the use case that we are going to build today. Okay. First of all, I'll just develop a very basic uh, workflow and I'll showcase you how to use it. So to get started, I'll directly first get on with the PII filtering activity, which is a part of UiPath Gen AI activities. Herein, like, we would have to select our connection. The latest one that we have created was in this workspace. I'll select that connection over here. Then it asks us for the text that needs to be processed for PII. So let's just give a dummy text to it as hello. I am Aditya Jain. I have been having some issues while ordering food, and the delivered items were as expected. Please reach out me for resolution. Solution on. Or okay, so this is something that we have given. It contains some PII data, which is my name, my contact number, and email address. Now, so sorry, I changed the connection. I'll say that this is basis on English language. Then what are the PII data that we want to erase? Is person, phone number, and email address. We can select others as well, like though it doesn't have it already, but we can write it down. And then there's a minimum confidence score as well. By default, it's set to 0.75, but we can make it adjustable as we go. But it's usually suggested that you keep it around in the range of 0.7 to 0.8 so that it's able to identify the data correctly and would be able to redact it. Then I'll just use a log message activity to see whatever the data it is being processed. So I'll just write redacted text over here and give it a log level as info. And about log message activity, it's just activity that we would be using in our codes to see what output is coming, or maybe like till what part our process has been completed. These logs are usually shown in a in orchestrator inside a panel. Okay, I'll show you in the outputs panel over here as well when we run it. So that's it that we're going to try for now, and I can just run this on my current machine. So it will first like look at the solution, whether it's error free or not. It will build the project, then it will transfer the project, run the packages, and then execute the code as well. Okay, so I'll show you here. Copy. I'll open a notepad file. This was our input text that we have put in, and after the PII activity, this is our text which has been given us to as an output. So it has removed the person name, then other things have been as is. Then they have removed the phone number and the email ID as well. At times, you might be requiring all these things, but every support platform has a dedicated chat option from which they can directly contact us rather than having all these PII data being shared with them. So they would be responding to you over there instead of on your phone or email address. Now, if I talk about a real world scenario which I was explaining previously, let's take an example where students are asked for feedback from your faculties that please give some feedback about the professor or the faculty, what how they have taught, whether they are adequate for you or not. So let's try to build that today. This is our database that I've already prepared, and I'll just delete the other sheets which we will process some time later. Okay, so we have some names with us, then some email addresses. Maybe the student has already submitted all of these forms, and we have this detail currently stored maybe in a database in a SQL server. Currently, like that would take some longer time, so I've stored it in a database in an Excel file. They students have given the feedbacks over here and along with their personal details, but we want this feedback to be anonymous and without the names who has given the feedback so that there are no repercussions on the students. So we'll try to process this particular file, generate the data and overwrite it once again. I'll also keep a copy of the data in case if we want to reprocess it. So okay, so since we are using some Excel files and UiPath Studio Web has already an integration available for Excel, I'll just search for it, and then since it's on my system currently, I'll write like this. Read range workbook, this activity. Herein you would be able to pass the direct path for your local file. So you can go to your local file, copy it, just copy as path. We will open the expression editor and we'll just paste the path of our Excel file over here. This could also be configured using assets in case if you are gonna be having some kind of dedicated machine. Currently, it will point to your machine as the user is over here. But in case if it's to be made configurable to run on different machines, we can use an asset and then like use the get asset activity to do so. It's something that we can see later on. Then we would have to provide the sheet name, that was sheet 1. Range we are not providing because it could span across multiple lines, but in case if you have a definite one, you can directly give it like this as well. Sorry, A1 to C7. But in our case, we don't know how many records might be there in that file, so I'll leave the range option as blank. The output of this data, the Excel file would be stored in a data table kind of variable. Now, in your case, it might be some emails or maybe the Excel file could be the same one, but we can like process it one by one. For that, we would be using a loop over here. Loop is nothing but basically like processing the similar kind of item again and again and again. So I'll use this one for now for each row in data table. I'll indicate what data table it has to refer. So it would be the data table which is for I'll show you once again. it would be for the read range activity, the one above, and its output variable is data table, which we will process. In here, we can first use a set variable value, wherein like we would be compiling the whole data, as in the name, email, and the feedback, so that we are not utilizing a lot of uh, AI units later on when we are processing it. If we want to process it one by one, each column, it would take a lot of resources. So rather than doing that, what I will do is I'll construct a variable, set its value, which would be compiled of the name, the email, and the feedback, and then we would be processing it in the PII filtering. For that, I showed you previously that there's a data manager already available with us. I'll go here and I'll create a variable which would say compiled string or compiled data, which is of text type. Herein, I will indicate the compiled data and I'll be setting the value. For that, I'll open the expression editor over here. Now, to read a data from your data table, which is basically rows and columns stored in a variable, to read it, we are already looping it like row by row, and each row's name would be current row. Here, I'll open expression editor and I'll write current row first. Now, what we would need is the name of the column over here. So there are two ways to do so. Either we can pass in our name of the column, or either we can pass a index over here. These are the two ways. So I prefer usually going with the name of the column, since in case if your columns are here or there, the structure might be a bit different, it would be able to recognize it. And then we are using a .toString function, which is nothing but would convert this particular column as a uh, row and column intersection as a name, as a string or text. Sorry. We'll save this, but to compile it, I'll add some more over here. So I'll just use a simple plus, which is used to concatenate all of it. I'll write a separator as this one, which would be unique and wouldn't be used in the feedback column. Then here I'll write current row, email, .toString. Then I'll use the separator once again. If you want to make it more readable and understandable, you can write it as name is something, then here email is this, and let the feedback be as is. Then we can save this. Now I'll use or drag and drop our PII filtering activity over here, and instead of passing this hard coded text, we will be using variables, which would be compiled data. Once we have the compiled data in there, uh, it would be generating the redacted text. And sorry, uh, we already have it. I'll remove this and use it here. So just let's try to run this and see the output, what it is generating. Then we can like segregate the data and put it back. Okay. Uh, the Excel file was already open, hence it failed out. Let me stop it and rerun. So we would be able to see the redacted text over here. So it is name is this, email is that, the faculty was not. So it's going one by one, and it is updating all the records over here. Now, if you want to like just change the data in your current database, what we can do is here use another set variable activity and open the expression editor, write it as current row name. So firstly, I want to do it with the name property or name column. I'll write it as compiled data. Then I have to use some function because currently we have appended as name is something, then email is something, and then the feedback. So I'll be using our separator first, like split it basis on this particular one. And then how split function works is I'll show you in the notepad here. So let's say it would be writing as name as Aditya, then this, then email is blah blah blah, and then the separator, some feedback over here. So this split function, what it does is it will take these separators since we have used it in a string, and basis on it, it will segregate all the whole string. So the very first character sequence came here. So before this, it will take the whole string as 0. After that, it will take it as 1. And post the second iteration, it would take it as number 2. In case if there would be any more such records, at that point of time, it would have considered it as a sequence number 3. So herein, like since we want the name from here, I'll split it basis on the 0th index, and then we will be converting it to what else? What I want to do? Replace, because we have used some extra characters such as name is with nothing, and then in the end we will be using a trim function. So this replace function, what it would do is it would read the first this 0th part, then it would be replacing with nothing over here. And then the trim function, what it does, it trims out the spaces whatever is left in this 0. So 0th part would be till this particular line that I'm seeing. So currently it has some blank spaces around the name section, so it would be removing that as well. So this is one expression that we have constructed for name. I'll save this. Now let's make a copy of this and paste it once again, and then again. So here in, like, you can write as email, name, and this is just to understand what we are currently doing or dealing with. So herein I'll go again to the expression editor, change this column name from name to email. Then here for feedback. In here, I'll write it as email and would update this as 1. And for the third one, we don't need to replace anything, but we can just use the trim function, and our index would be number 2. Now our data would be changed already. What we need to do is out of this loop, like this loop is from this, I'll just minimize this one and then write all this data back to our file. So see, now we are using the file path again. What I'll do is I'll just create a variable called as file path created, and at the top I can write set variable activity. And I'll give the value over here in the expression editor. So instead of using the file path again and again, you can set it at once at the top and then maybe process it. So file path, sheet name. Since we firstly, I'll show you in a different one, and then maybe we can write it in the same sheet. Starting cell, where do we want to write it? I'll write it at the very first line itself. And what data table are we processing? So we were processing the one for read range workbook and then the data table. Okay, so this is the whole workflow that we have built, and then we can just try to run it. Oh, okay, my bad. I gave the starting cell like that. Ooh. Okay, let's see the results. Oh, my bad. Sorry. Oh, I made one mistake over here inside the loop. So when we were setting the variables below, what we did is we just used the compiled data string itself, which was the base text. Instead of this, we need to use the redacted text, which is like already having the erased data. So I'll write that redacted text, just replacing the compiled data with redacted. That is done. If you will see now in the sheet 2, you have the person names are removed, the email IDs are removed, and you would be just left with the feedback, which then later could be shared with the department or any other place where you want to upload it. One thing that we are noticing that it's missing the headers, which is just because we haven't checked one of the property in here in the right range workbook. We can add headers so that it will have name, email, and feedback at the very top and the very first line. So this was all about PII and PHI data, how we can remove it. Now, in case if you want to do it, you can like use some emails, send some emails to yourself, and then read that particular email body, process the data, and later on convert it as you want. Next, in case if since we were talking about RAG as well while like we were beginning with, RAG activities would be, so I'll say context grounding, search. Herein, like you can directly have some uh, connection that you have already created in your integration services. You can give some input text or the query that you want to find. First, I'll show you my orchestrator. So to do context grounding, what we actually need is we need a storage bucket in which you can store some data. Herein, like I have stored one particular file, which is an offer letter. Then in indexes, we have to go in, add an index, give it a name, just give it a name and description. Choose storage bucket as an option. Select this orchestrator folder and your storage bucket. Basis on this, just click on, like if you have some Word files, PDF files, basis on that you can select it. For me, it was just PDF, so I have selected PDF and then I just clicked on save, which has created one index which is called as offer details. Herein, like you can people who are from organization, they can put some FAQs already which are answered by the support team, and maybe some terms and condition which the organization has, some policies related with travel and expense, or maybe leave policies that you might be having. All of it could be stored in the storage bucket. Then an index could be created. In case if an index is already created but you want to add on more documents, just add some new files in your storage bucket, go to your indexes, and then just click on sync. So it will become like ingestion status as in progress, and then maybe in a few minutes it will turn to successful, and then you can start using it. Now, herein, what I'll do is I'll give my input text, that is my query. So, what is the total number of leaves which is granted to the employee? I'll give the orchestrator folder path, which is shared, and then the index name. And as simple as that, you can just use the log file, log message activity to see what data it is giving out. So, for me, just a sec. For me, it would be search result. Search result. So what it would do is it would go in that particular index. It will find the data and it will show it on our output window. Oh, sorry, type leaves. Let's search for that first. Type of leaves which is granted to the employee, and should be good. It's not showing up. Third. Oh, okay. Maybe I've used the wrong connection. Let me make it as this one so that it can access that index. Orchestrator folder path as shared, index name as details. Hmm? Unable to give. It's some. Or let's do one thing. I'll create an. I'll showcase the one that I have already. In case it's okay. I've already created some workflow over here, and I'll show you what are the queries that we are running and what is the output that we're getting. Okay, so this is the workflow that I've built in wherein like I've given the context grounding search and then the content generation activity as well. So we are passing the question as like what is the salary that we are giving and what are the stocks being offered to the employees and what output it has given. I'll show you the letter as well. So there we go. So the output that it has given is the employee is this. It he's being offered this much salary with this much RSUs that vest over 3 years with some particular vesting period as well. In case if I want to make some other queries as well, so I'll copy the query, I'll write it over here, and let's try to run that. So this particular kind of applications could be used as a chatbot kind of an agent where it would be referring to your database or the documents which would be stored in the storage bucket. An index would be created out of it, and then we can get the outputs from it. So if I show you what output it has given right now is this one. The types of leaves which are given to the employees. It has summarized all of it and generated the content. I'll also show you the data which is being stored in that storage bucket. So some XYZ organization address, etc. Now, if I talk about the compensation part for the very first one, this is the salary, these are the RSUs, and this is the vesting period for that. If I talk about the leaves, so now leaves are spanned across like PTO, sick leave, etc. at different places. But what it does is it has compiled all of them and has given you an output in the form of a short summary that you can directly search for. Now, practical applications would involve querying against a knowledge base that your company might be having for leaves, etc. Now, in healthcare organization, there are customer care agents which would be talking about, like, some customer would be calling them asking whether I can do this particular one, I can take this medicine or not. I am having all these allergies. So the customer care operator does not have to, like, scan through a lot of documents that he would be having. They can simply go in, give the query to the agent, and the agent would be able to give an answer on that, such that, like, it would be in a summarized manner, and the operator can communicate this to the customer. uh, with this, like, whatever I thought to showcase you guys, I have done that. This is the activity for context grounding that you can use, wherein you will mention connection, input text, and the index name. Second is content generation, which you have already seen, but now using context grounding. Like, we are using the uh, index, and then basis on the index, we are getting an output out of it. Now, if I talk about the mini challenge, what we need to do is just let me share the screen. Where is that? So, for the mini challenge, the use case would be around customer communications. That could be based on maybe some healthcare related data, insurance data, or maybe for any particular consumer application that you might already be using. Problem statement around that is organizations are handling a lot of sensitive data which has some PII data such as email, phone number, social security number, and all of it. So, like, PII and PHI is being already taken care manually right now. Like, the people are removing the names and all these details and then sharing it to the further team. But what we want to do is we want to eliminate this manual process at totally. And using the Gen AI PII filtering activity, we can directly remove the data and then keep it out as an output, which could later be passed to different teams. What you have to do is you have to use Studio Web, integration service, and Gen AI activities. And basically, you can combine two or three activities if you want, but even if you are taking some help from maybe GPT or Gemini, take input from an email, process it using the PII filtering activity, store it in a particular place, and please share the input screenshot, what input that you are giving in, and what is the output that you are getting. You can share it in the zip file along with your solution, where like Rudranil can guide you where to upload the solution along with the screenshot. Okay, that is all. If you have queries, I am open for that. Rudra, you there?
Yeah, I'm there now. So, yeah, that was a very enticing session. Let me just add it over here. Yeah, okay. So, all right. So, moving ahead, we truly appreciate the time and knowledge you had, like, you took to share with us today. And now we'll open the floor for any questions that our participants may have. So, you may feel free and drop down it on the chat. We'll address as many as we can. So, beginning with that, so Nakshi Babar has a question for someone just starting their journey. Yeah, so
Okay.
for someone just starting their journey in agentic AI with UiPath, what would be your recommended learning path or resources beyond this bootcamp?
Okay. For that, like, we can basically start with the UiPath Academy. UiPath Academy has a lot of courses over there. Basic one would be to do the foundation training, which is a part of RPA developer, and then there are some agentic AI specific use courses which are in process right now, which would be like out in the month of June. As and when, like, keep on checking the UiPath Academy, and you will be able to find those courses over there. It would be covering every Gen AI activity along with the basic Studio Web experience that you have just seen.
Cool. Okay. So as Aditya mentioned, you guys need to check the UiPath Academy. The link for that is also mentioned in the interaction section of the platform for the hackathon. So I would suggest you guys can check it over there as well. So you can just directly use the link, go to the forum or the platform there is. You just sign up with your ID, and then you can check out the courses, and then you can move ahead with all the different courses there are. Explore it well. You can get into the academy diploma thing as well. I mean, you need to complete those courses. So me personally, I have checked, and there are around like a couple, 4 5 courses that are 1 to 2 hours long. You guys need to complete that, and then post completion you will be getting your diploma. So you guys can please do check it out over there. It will be something helpful for you guys. Okay, so moving on ahead, we have another question from Sai Pavan. Can we integrate or make a log database for any action, error warning, notification taking place for debugging?
Uh, so in UiPath Orchestrator, we already have a place wherein like all the logs are getting stored once we publish the process. I'll show you once again. I'll present my screen and where you can find it as well. Entire screen on share. Let me know once you're able to see that.
Yeah,
In
it's
here,
good.
okay. So in here in UiPath Orchestrator, if we go to automations and jobs, here, in case if we have already created the process, by creation of process, I mean like once the whole thing is done, we publish the process from here to the orchestrator, and then whenever the process would be running, it would be generating jobs over here, and those jobs would be having the logs wherever, whichever kind of log that you've given, info, trace, warning, or error, all of them would be visible in these two sections. This log section would be compiled of every process that we are running, and this job section would be having job level logs over here if you want it to be filtered. So we have already a place. In case if you want, you can like set up a database connection where you can upload the logs as well, or maybe a text file which you want to attach to every notification email.
Okay. So I hope that answers your questions. Um, you guys can quickly just drop down your query if any more we have. So Aditya, let's just wait for one or couple of moments. If they drop, okay. So let's see if any more questions are there. All right. So I guess there are not many questions for
Yeah.
this. So we'll just quickly move ahead. Um, okay. So thank you all for joining us today for the third Agentic Global Bootcamp. We hope you found this session valuable and that it sparked new ideas around the power of agentic AI and automation with path. So don't forget, you now have 24 hours to complete and submit your mini challenge. This is your chance to put your learning into action and compete for the share of the $5,000 prize pool. Also, make sure to check out the UiPath Academy course linked in the course section to earn your free diploma and continue your journey in automation. And we'll be back soon with more exciting content and sessions. Until then, stay curious, keep building, and thank you once again for being part of this global learning experience. See you in the next bootcamp. Thank you, Aditya. Thank you for coming on this session and giving an insightful session. I hope all the participants are very much enticed by your explanation. All right. So thank you once again. Thank you for everyone. for joining this
Thank
session.
you.
Cool. Thank you.